Awesome. How long have you been in the business, Michelle? Let's do that.
14 years.
14 years. Awesome. Very good. All in this area?
In this area.
Okay.
Different real estate company.
Right. But yeah. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Very, very good. Did we talk last time? I really like. It's Jim, right? Is that the broker?
Jim.
Yeah. Really good guy. Hi. What's his last name?
Bachelor.
That's it. Okay. Very good. Yeah.
In fact, I left them.
Yeah.
And I went with another company.
Yeah.
And I came back to
Good. Jim's a good guy. Really good guy. Like him a lot. So awesome.
My name is Ann Agee. I am an agent with Absolute Realty in Longwood. I mainly work in Apopka, Outdora, Sorrento. I've been in the business 3 years
Very good. What line of work prior to that, Ann?
as an accountant for a big company.
Okay. Very good. Enjoying your freedom?
Yes.
Awesome. Absolutely. No more cubicles. Just say no to cubicles.
No more racing up the steps.
That's right. Awesome. Good deal.
I'm Fernando Borrego. I'm with Exit Realty.
Awesome.
Got 2 offices, one here in Longwood, another one over in Winter Springs.
Awesome.
I'm in the Winter Springs office. Been doing this steadily about the last 5 years now.
Okay,
I've
good.
Done it in the late 70s in Los Angeles, in the early 90s in Raleigh, North Carolina, and last 5 years I've been here.
Awesome. Very, very good. Good deal. Mr. Williams.
Dan Williams, Future Home Realty, which I know is your badge. I live out in Aurora, work in the greater Orlando area, though. And I had an investment company for 9 years. Investor at heart, but really enjoy working with buyers and sellers. So it's going good.
Doing a great job.
Sharon Hires, 15 years, and I've been with a couple of different brokerages, and I just expanded when I joined Future Home Realty to do this area, because I've been doing this for 15 years, but I have a national coach, Michael Mayer, if you guys
Yeah.
know him, but when I told him that I have an 86-year-old mother that I need to be near, that I go up there once a week, every single week, I said, I'm just gonna have to move there and forget Orlando. And he goes, wait, I'm all good with you being family first. He said, I'm not good with you having a sphere as big as yours.
Mhm.
So I expanded instead. And I will still be Orlando and might be able to give you some referrals. All the listings. But I'm gonna do Jacksonville.
Awesome.
And sell my house here and live in a smaller house, so I can just travel back and forth as I need to versus every single week.
Awesome. And I'm sure, did Jim told you about the Jacksonville or Orange Park office there?
Oh, no.
I mean, not Orange Park.
Yeah, San Jose.
Yeah, on San Jose.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
So, but I usually work out my house anyway. So
Absolutely.
I have everything I need at home, so.
Cool.
But you guys were delightful. I talked to only one of the brokers that could even do what I wanted to
Mhm.
be done. And I mean, Michael Mayer told me I needed to be a better researcher if I couldn't figure out how to do this. I accepted the challenge.
That's awesome.
So the only one other one that nobody was easy to deal with, I'll give you your mom.
Jim's awesome.
He was unbelievable because
Yeah.
I asked a lot of questions and he answered them almost immediately. You know, and that was a big deal to me because this was a big change.
Sure.
So I wanted to do my last change. And by the way, I was with Keller Williams when people used to call him Keller Who.
Yeah, right?
So I'm excited about how big Future Home Realty is going to be.
Yeah.
Because people are saying, who?
Yeah.
Is this your new brokerage? Or the big bucks?
All right, good. See? Well, just take ownership. Say, oh, yeah.
I'm glad you guys think that feels like.
Right. That's good. Awesome. Well, welcome aboard, and that's awesome. That's great news. And Jim, by the way, I live in Tennessee, right? And by the ability for me to live in Tennessee and run a 1,000 agent company here is because I don't run it, Jim and Maureen, and take care of a majority of the stuff.
All I did was, and this is why I compliment you so highly, because the other people I was talking to, I was directly talking to them and couldn't get answers.
Right.
I clicked on
Yeah.
contact us
Yeah.
information or
Yeah.
know about more information. I clicked on that, wrote an email, and all of a sudden I was like, are you kidding me? He answered me. And he answered all my questions.
That's
And
perfect.
That was impressive.
Good.
I
Good
need
deal.
that. I don't ask that many for business, but to start business.
Awesome. Good deal. Well, that's a great testimony. And our winner of the Yeti-like bottle.
Richard Schoner. I'm with Watson Realty here in Canada. And I've been here in real estate for less than 2 years.
Awesome. From what line of work, Richard?
A landscape contractor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good.
That was when I was out in California and,
Yeah.
before that year and everything, so I just kind of cashed out there and came out here.
Good for you. Good place to be. Find a place that doesn't have state income tax. I mean, all these kind of things. Those are all important things to consider when you're making a move from California. I think I joked last time I was born and raised out there, and one of my college roommates is a financial planner out there. And I said, I'll never, he says, he's always after our investments. And I said, I'll never do business with a financial planner who chooses to live in a state with a state income tax. I said, you want a 7.5% return on your money? Move. All right? It's simple as that. I said, I'll give you a 7.5% increase right now. Don't stop paying state income tax. Well, yeah, but yeah. I said, whatever. All right. Okay. I'm just telling you. So, well, awesome. That's great. So 2 years, how things going so far? Good?
It's starting, yes.
Good. Starting to get some traction and good. Perfect. Good deal. Mr. Crawford.
I'm George Crawford. I've been a licensed real estate agent for 3.5 years. All in about 6 weeks, I spent in Keller Williams Heritage, and I've been with Future Homes since June 7th. So things are going well. You asked Richard about things going well. It seemed like it was a slow start for me, building up a little bit every year, but now things are almost at the explosion level, and so it's pretty exciting. It's just my biggest fear is keeping up with business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not losing business. So I'm pretty excited about Houston real estate. Happy to be here. I really like this company so far. So I think that's a relationship that continue to grow from what I'm experiencing.
Awesome. Good deal. And that's good to hear that we love explosions, right? Busy's good when you're self-employed. We always tell people that. There's, it's one thing to be busy when you're working in a cubicle and you're making the same amount no matter if you're busy or not busy. So let's stay not busy. But if you're making more money and or things are going the way you want them to, and we'll talk about a little bit about, it's not all about the money. It's about the lifestyle, right? It's the quality of life and everything else. So, well, good. Rhonda. Yep. Key card works. Same key card, by the way, opens those off. Okay. That's awesome.
Well, the other thing is that you can join, and you helped me with this too, so I joined the Jacksonville board. So I'm in this MLS and Jacksonville's MLS, so that way, that I, two things, obviously, if anybody has anybody going to Jacksonville, I'm there, but also if I can't take them, I just figured I'd do them both, and that way I'm safe. I can do listings here, buyers, I probably will work, unless they're come out.
Yeah, right. Unless they're $800,000 and above, then,
Trying to limit it to people I know.
That's good. Oh, you know what? And that's Michael. How did you find, if you don't mind me, because we're going to talk a little bit about Michael anyway. I'm a big Michael Mayer fan. Do you personally coach with him?
Yeah, and I actually right now have just stopped only because it was so many thousands of dollars per month.
Sure.
And
That's fair.
I feel like he's my friend because he still
Yeah.
stays in touch.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
He is a good guy.
He still stays in touch and he still comments. He sends me personal messages. And he knows I'm not paying him right now.
Right.
I'm sure he hopes I do start paying him.
Sure.
But he actually, I think, cares about when he meets you. And I met him and his wife actually came and worked with me in town, which is like, nobody gets that, by the way.
Yeah, right.
Worked with me all day, one day.
Mhm.
And you feel, like you just said, face to face.
Yep.
A whole different thing now.
Yeah.
I feel like we know each other, and everything's different. But by the way, everything he told me was true.
Yeah.
Every single thing. I mean, I didn't resist. He said one of the things he likes about me is I don't resist when somebody, well, I did some mentoring coaching, you guys know, and I didn't like when people resisted me. So when he made, hey, I thought you do this.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And he said, so the next time I talk to you, you go, okay, what did you make on, done on my list? I got this all written down. So me too, it's checked off, and here's what I've done. And he goes, that's the best. Is that so many times you go back and you teach somebody something and they don't do any of the things or they do half of the things.
Or they give you an excuse and your coach should say, cockamamie,
He's a good guy.
if you've read the book.
Yeah. You did, I can tell. I have it on audio and I wouldn't mind loaning people.
It's awesome.
If anybody wants to hear audio, it's awesome.
100K Club, just so you know, I'm going to talk about our 100K Club. In the 100K Club, we have 7 sessions in 100K, and the 7 sessions, what we do is we do a couple different things. We teach some different unique concepts, but we go through 7 coaching sessions that are taken direct. I mean, we just read. That's that's our textbook, is the 7 levels of communication, because it's really, in a nutshell, it's stop chasing, start attracting, right?
And stack networking, I've never heard of.
Wait, I mean, there are some incredible concepts that it's just really amazing. If you started to apply just a tenth of what he teaches in that book, well, and it goes back to, how many guys were here last time we did the investor group? Okay, with that, we talked about, hey, look, just if you apply anything, right? I'm a firm believer that if you just did the training and actually did it, all right, it would be successful because you're doing something, right? It's just a matter of doing it. That's the hard part for us. We go to a seminar and we learn great stuff, and then okay, what next? So that's great. Well, that's awesome to hear those testimonials about Michael too, because I'm a huge fan.
I believe in, I think you mentioned it before, and I believe in handwritten notes. And I thought I was pretty good at it, and I preached it too, George could tell you. But he got me on mega handwritten notes.
Yep.
It was like way bigger than anything I've ever done. And the rewards are big. I mean, it was, I said, as I'm writing, he said, how's your hand doing? I said, it is tired. He told me I could do it in a month, and I said, I'll do it in 2 weeks. But it paid me. I mean,
Yeah.
It paid.
It's,
So, handwritten notes are amazing.
well, I would love to pick your brain a little bit, because you're even, matter of fact, we brought Michael in probably about 2.5 years ago. We kind of did something in Tampa, did a big one in Tampa, and then co-sponsored something. We were trying to get something going here, because I'll tell you the story later on how I discovered the book. It was actually one of our agents from Jacksonville that said everything I was teaching in our 100K Club was right out of this book, and I was plagiarizing, and call me Ivanka Trump. I was taking stuff right from his book and not giving him credit. I'm like, what book are you talking about? And and shared, and he told me about it. I went and got the book literally that afternoon, read it, because you can read it in the afternoon. I read the book in the afternoon. It's an easy read. It's a story. It's an allegory, if you will, a story of a real estate agent that's looking to maybe get out of the business, and now how he goes and revamps his business. And so I could see why, though, he thought I was, stealing my stuff. Yeah.
Says, why wait for a life-changing event where you almost die
Yeah.
to make a change in your life?
Exactly.
So
That's it. That's perfectly it. So, all right. So here's the thing. I love this slide. We use this slide for a couple different things, but I'm a firm believer in breakthroughs, right? In that if you're going to change, the only way to change is to change. Okay, so you write that one down. Okay, is that that when you actually get to a point where you want to make a breakthrough, it's going to take a little bit of pain, right? And we're going to have to force ourselves to get there. But the cool thing is once you're on the other side of that breakthrough, this is what I've discovered in my own life. Once you're on the other side of it, now it's like, wow, how refreshing is that? Boy, isn't that a better way to live? All right, I wish someone had forced me to do it. My young son, older son, he's still young to me, Joseph, plays some tennis. And we've been working on, he went to a tournament in Chattanooga last weekend, and his first match, they play 2 out of 3 sets, and the third set becomes a 10-point tiebreak. So he took this match to the nth degree, because they split the first 2 sets, and then on the third set, it was first one to 10, but you had to win by 2. He ended up losing in that one, 12-10 in the tiebreak, right? Hour and 50-minute match, and he had all of 20 minutes before he had to go play his next match then. And he was like, Dad, I am so wiped, and can't we just go? I said, you know what, no, let's push through. I'm gonna get you some time. I'll get you a little bit, of time to kind of regroup a little bit. And so I did, and it was hot, and they had a couple indoor courts, so I finagled an indoor court for him, how dads do, right? So I just said, we got to make this work. He just played a really long match. But then he came through, won that second one, and then it was really a break, because it's the first time he moved up to the 14 and unders, and he has tryouts coming out for his school team, all right? And so I told you, he goes to this kind of elite school in Nashville. There's only 10 spots on the team. The top 4 juniors in the state of Tennessee go to his school, right? So those 4 spots are gone, all right? So now he's got 40 other kids fighting for 6 spots. So, and he wants to do it, but again, we're not one of these parents where it's going to be, his livelihood, We think tennis is it's a great socializing sport. It's a great lifetime sport, and he enjoys it. But sometimes I have to push him a little bit to get him through. And so now once he broke through, though, all right, and his confidence level, you can see him walking out. Ended up playing in the semis or in the finals of the consolation bracket because but he just had and got a lot of activity. And so those breakthroughs, once we're on the other side of it, boy, it's just like, wow, how refreshing can this be? So I'm going to show some, once again at the end, email me. I can get you a copy of the PowerPoint. Jim, we can get you a copy of the YouTube. We'll put this on our YouTube training channel. We do some stuff. And then the goal for here is to really lead into our 3 things that we're going to have. We've had 100K we've been teaching for years, all right? And we've revamped it and done some different things. It's really just making agents or helping them structure their business in such a way that they get to a point where they're going to have the success they want to have. So those are going to launch first week of August, all right? So we have our 100K. We also have something called the Next that we're going to promote. We taught this one time last year, the first time we did it. That is for the higher level producers. Generally, we'd say if you did $4 million in sales and or did 15 transactions last year, then you'd qualify for the Next. Different set of people, different set of problems, and different issues that are coming about. Whether, hey, look, how do I bring on my first, assistant? And do I pay them? Can I bring them on as a 1099 as an employee? What's the better way to do it? Do I outsource? You know what I mean? All those kind of things we hash through on helping you take it to the next level. All right. And then so what we normally do is we're going to teach the Next in for an hour and a half, take a small break, and then bring in the 100K. And this time though in the 100K, we taught 100K for so long that keep seeing the same faces, all right, and none of them are doing it. Okay, so this time I said, look, but we're bringing on so many new agents that I need to teach the same stuff because the principles work, right? If you work them. So I want to teach the same stuff, but I can tell I'm losing some people like, oh yeah, that's what you said before. Yeah, I've said it before, you've never done it. Okay, all right, but I'm gonna say it again to a fresh group of people, but then I'm gonna teach that for an hour, and then I'm gonna just take a little 3-minute break and then bring in the other group of people that have already been to 100K and know what I'm teaching, but it's just gonna be pure, unadulterated, bare, naked accountability for 45 minutes. I mean, to the point of I'm gonna have a notepad and you're gonna write down what are you gonna do between now and 2 weeks from now. You know what to do, but now you need to raise your right hand. That's why I changed the slide, Jim. I wanted to make it, that's what we're gonna call the committed. All right, so we've got 100K, we've got the Next, and we've got the committed. Those are the people that are gonna really pour into and say, look, I'm committed to make this happen. These are goals, and you know what? Everybody's gonna have different goals. One group's I wanna make $250,000 this year. Other says, you know what? I want more time with my grandchildren, and I wanna still be able to survive and provide a quality of life. And I get all that, and that's cool. Whatever that goal is, let's do it, right? But let's commit to it and make it happen. Now, I call it the committed. The first slide I sent Jim, I said I was going to call it Excuse Makers Anonymous. All right. I said, that sounds a little too negative. All right. I know. Literally, I was going to make it a 12-step program. All right. All right. We're going to have the first step. We've got to admit that our life has become unmanageable. All right. But by the fact that we have made excuses all our lives. All right. So that's what I wanted to do. But we'll make it a more positive. The committed sounds better. Right. Okay. And then I guess the committed means if we can be in a straitjacket and be committed as well, though. So anyway, so we're going to look for breakthroughs. And my goal, that's my passion. I love to see people thrive, all right? I really do. And it's just fun to see people attack this business, get out of a cubicle and say, hey, you know what, I can do something here. Get out of, you know what, I've been 2.5 years and I'm starting to get some traction, but how do I really take it to that next level and make it happen? And so we want to just come alongside. I don't have all the answers. I just have the ability to, hey, share what has worked for me. And the better thing is the group dynamic coming together is that here's what's working for everybody. Because we teach abundance, right? And so abundance says that, hey, look, I'm not going to hoard my idea because then somebody might steal my business, all right? The reality is, all right, the people who do business with Dan are different than the people who do business with George, period, all right? And so it doesn't really matter. So an idea shared by Dan that George says, oh, that's a good idea, all right, isn't going to affect George, take money out of George's pocket. All right, much to some people's dismay that they think that that's the way it is, and it's not, right? It's just we're going to expand the pie, right? So that everybody's slice keeps getting bigger, but it's not because someone else's is getting smaller. Fair enough? All right, so if you want to copy the PowerPoint, let me know, and we'll go through this, and then we'll just dialogue. And this will be open dialogue, so feel free to share as we come across, something comes up. All right, first step, commit to growth, all right? I'm a firm believer in that we've got to be growing. And that as quote-unquote salespeople, that, like Michael says, we want to stop chasing and start attracting. And if we're going to attract people, we need to be attractive, right? Which means we need to grow. There's some rough edges, and this is, I mean, one of the, do you remember, Jim, when we taught 100K in that back room of that warehouse?
Yeah.
Okay, we found this little warehouse. I'm always looking for free space, right? So we found this little guy who had a computer shop, and in the back was a warehouse, and he also was into kind of MMA fighting. So this guy was a computer guy, but so he had like a little gym set up back there. So it was kind of, there was a heavy bag and a speed bag and some other things, but there were mirrors on the wall. One of my favorite places to teach, because I could look myself in the mirror and say, hey, look, this is a reminder that I'm teaching me, right? I need this as much as anybody else needs this, all right? There's a little bit of window back there, so I get a little reflection, so this is good, all right? But when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me, 100%, that I need to continually watch myself, and I got to be growing in all areas. Now, I listed some places to grow, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and financially, all right? And I kind of believe, quite frankly, they go in that order, all right? I'm an inside-out kind of guy. I know I had read Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, okay, or at least I thought I did, because it was on my shelf, all right? For 15 years, it had been on my shelf, right? And then about 2 years ago, I actually went back and reread it and studied it, highlighted it, dug deep into that. That thing, by the way, if you ever want to fillet yourself a little bit and truly do something to really look at yourself from the inside out, maybe start with one of those books. I'm telling you, it's not an easy read if you do it right. For me, it wasn't, at least. So, but with that in mind, I'm a firm believer that attractiveness starts from the inside, right? And so we've got to change ourselves, again, in these areas, spiritually, emotionally. I made it a goal. I try and read 4 books a month, all right? And one of them I try and read is a spiritual book, something that's going to enhance my life spiritually, all right? For me, it's Christianity. For other people, it's different things. If it's Zen Buddhism for others, it doesn't really matter, okay? I'm talking globally, spiritually, all right? For me, it's Christianity, and looking at that kind of stuff. So I want to grow there. Emotionally, I try and read something because, quite frankly, the way I grew up, I have some rough edges I need to sand off. I had some things, and we'll talk about that a little bit here, about some of the things, how we move forward, all right? But we have to, maybe there's some rough edges I need in my relationship life, all right, with Jeanette, with the boys, with trying to become, a better person. So I try and read a book that's going to help me do that. And like 7 Habits would be one of those, all right? Physically, this is something where I'm a firm believer in as well. Because that's why we have no donuts and bagels today, all right? We have fruit and nuts, all right? Because I'm just telling you, when you guys when you realize that you are what you eat, and you can learn to eat to live, not live to eat, all right? It's and trust me, my tongue is attracted to carbs and sugar. I love them, all right? Given my choice, all right, bottle of water or Dr. Pepper, given my choice, I'll choose Dr. Pepper every day, all right? It takes a conscious decision for me to do this, all right? Not something, I want to do because my tongue tells me otherwise, all right? I really, really want something else. So with that in mind, once we start to live in, like this morning, I got up at the hotel and I made sure I hit the workout room before I go, just because I feel better, right? I feel better about walking out the door. And I think we joked last time that, if I'm going to attract business, all right, I kind of walk out and I feel better about myself when my pants fit. It's just true, right? It's just when I walk out and say, I got to, release another, buckle on the belt, all right? It's like, you know what, really? And you said you were going to do it? That's the hard part, is that you made a commitment that you were going to do it, and now you're not doing it. That's a bad place. I've been there. This is, again, me in the mirror. All right, that's a bad place to be, all right? Because then everything starts to fall apart. So we talk about that. To doing it. And financially, I'm a firm believer that, we live in the greatest country in the world, all right, and we have the ability to go out and attack it, whatever that might mean for you. I'm not saying you want to be a billionaire. Maybe you do. That's great, okay? But I'm just saying, provide for your family, do the things you need to do, don't waste talents that I believe are God-given, all right? Because I'm a firm believer that it's a sin to waste talents that you've been given by God to do, and so to really attack those things. So we're going to seek growth. Read and study every day. Don't just read, but study, all right? That's what, I thought I'd read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. When I studied it is when I really started to be able to apply, all right? Does that make sense? Okay, and that's where the application comes in. So don't just, and by the way, I knew this was going to be less attended than the last one, because this is kind of, yeah, it sounds fluffy, right? You know, better way to live, all right? Sounds whatever. It's like, no, that's not going to give me something hardcore that I can actually apply and do business with, right? I want something that, give me a technique, give me a script, right? That I can use that's going to work on the next person I run into, right? Well, I don't think all the scripts in the world, if you don't have all this stuff squared away, is going to be ineffective, right? It's going to be a waste of time because you're not going to be the kind of person that you need to be that's going to attract business anyway. Fair enough? All right. All right, turn off the television. Turn off the television. All right? Boy. Every time I watch TV, anyway, I come away either hungry, because I've watched all these commercials tell me that I need this food, right? Or feeling like I have some ailment, right? Maybe I do. Maybe I do need to call Morgan & Morgan, all right? Maybe someone did. Maybe I have mesothelioma. Maybe I did. You know what? It's not positive, right? It seems like every time I'm watching TV, and you know it's rare, because we watch very, very little TV in our home. Where I do watch some TV now, as I can justify it, is when I'm on the elliptical or something at the gym. I'll say at least I'm getting my exercise while I'm watching ESPN or trying to catch up on some things, right? And so I try and justify it that way. But even when I watch, you know, some of the news programs or whatever, it's just like, holy smokes, every commercial's telling me that I should have an ache or this, that, or the other. Or I've got low this, and I need to enhance that, and you know, whatever. I was like, holy smokes, man. How about if I just go be energetic and forget that? I refuse to participate. Thank you very much. All right? Thank you very much. I'm not going to do it. So turn off the television. All right? That's why people tell us all the time, oh, I can never read 4 books a month. Well, you watch too much television a lot of times. If you took the time you watch television, all right, or spend surfing Facebook, all right, you could probably read a lot of books, all right, by getting it done. Embrace the growth and challenge yourself. What I mean is this. Don't just say, oh, yeah, I want to grow. All right, there's one thing to say I'm going to grow, but how do you measure that, right? That's why you need to be part of an accountability group, right? Or have a coach or somebody that's going to really hold your feet to the fire and say, okay, all right, what does that growth look like? I use this illustration all the time because remember, true goals have are quantitative, all right, and have a deadline on them. Because me saying a goal, I want to be a better husband. What does that mean? All right? I mean, you know, yeah, I want to be a better husband, but how do you measure that, right? Okay, and if you could measure it, okay, by when? What are you going to do? Well, you know what? So remember, goals, true goals, have to be quantified and have to have a deadline. All right, that you set. All right, that you're gonna attack. All right. By the way, there's my email address down there. It's bobmcd@futurehomerealty.com. Email me if you want a copy of the PowerPoint. You can always grab it there. It'll be at the end of each. By the way, somebody really told me this one time. Is a great way, because I would go through my slides and I hadn't seen my slides in a while, or like this one I made yesterday, right? So I don't know when the last point on this slide is. But he said, put your email at the bottom of your last point, so that way you know you've reached your last point on that slide. So next tip, Rhonda, next time you're doing a PowerPoint presentation, remember that, all right? Got it? Okay. Love yourself. Inside out. Okay, I told you this is going to be kind of, all right? Forgive and heal. Again, we're not going to go, you know, I don't need to bring a box of tissues up here and tell you, you know, sad stories about everybody. But here's the thing. A lot of us are coming from spots that you weren't the best. I get that, all right? I didn't have the upbringing. I mean, I wasn't playing in tennis tournaments, I'll tell you that, when I was growing up, all right? But that's okay. My parents did the best they could, all right, and did everything they could to help me get to the point where I am, and it is what it is, and it's my turn now to forgive and just heal and move on, okay? So some of us need to get to that point. And by the way, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, some of this stuff, some of the spiritual books I read help me through that, or help me walk through some of that stuff. remove negative influences. Choose to not participate with the negative. All right? Just remove them from your life. Okay? And just move on. Sorry, I'm not going to participate. And we got to check ourselves. Sometimes do it with love, right? You don't have to be rude about it, but just say, hey, you know what? Can I tell you this? For me, numbers 2 and 3 go hand in hand. Understand the difference between my family and my relatives. You know who my family is? Jeanette, Joseph, Samuel, Trixie. Trixie's our dog. Okay? All right? Okay? All right? That's my family. Okay? That is my main responsibility. Jeanette, Joseph, Samuel, Trixie. My relatives, including my parents have passed away kind of long ago, but sisters, brothers, nieces and nephews, all right, they have their own set of issues and all sorts of sets of problems and all that kind of stuff. Quite frankly, sounds harsh. I know you're going to say, boy, what a rude dude. All right, I like that. I'm Dr. Seuss today. Rude dude. All right, not my problem. All right, my sisters, daughters, children out of wedlock, not my problem. Okay, it's really not. I'm not going to participate. I'll help when I can, but I'm not going to enable. Right, and I choose to make sure my family, and for me that is that. And some of that, quite frankly, for me, you guys are totally different. I get it. Everybody has, some people may have had Ozzie and Harriet, Leave It to Beaver upbringings. I'm glad you did. That's awesome. But for me, I had to remove myself. Part of removing my negative influences in my life was removing from some of my relatives. Majority of my relatives. Almost all of my relatives. But I've forgiven and healed, so I'm moving on. All right? Okay. Treat your body with respect. As part of loving yourself, we talked about this a little bit on the first slide. All right? Sleep, eat, and exercise well. If you come to the 100K, you don't owe me a dime. It's not $850 to come to Bold. All right? It's, all right, no money out of your pocket, but you are going to have some commitments. And one of the things you're going to commit to is sleeping, eating, and exercising well. All right, because it doesn't do you any good to try these other techniques if you're not doing those things. Really not. We all need more sleep. And trust me, I'm in a room 100K, I'll teach a group of 50 or 60 people in the room, and I've got young moms and everybody on there, oh, it'll never happen. I can't get 8 hours of sleep, can't get it. So, well, if you're going in with the attitude that I can't, then you've already made up your mind. All right? Find a way to finagle the schedule. Figure it out. All right? There's got to be a way. And you know what? Maybe you don't need 8 hours. Get enough. Okay? Right now, a lot of us aren't getting enough. And sleep is the foundation to proper health. It really is. All right? I'm learning this. Again, me in the mirror. All right? This is important. Okay? That's due. And eating, hard for me. I'm telling you. That's why I just don't even tempt myself. I can't keep things around that I shouldn't have. All right? Because it's just not good. I'm not saying that it becomes such a, what's the word? Such a law in my life that it becomes onerous. Because if I go I've done this in the past, go to extremes, and then boy, when I fall off the wagon, Katie bar the door, look out. Hide the candy aisle, all right? And hide the Big Macs and hide everything else. But one of the best books, by the way, to this, and it just popped in my head, it's a book called Body for Life, written in the 1980s, something like that. But the cool thing, 2 things I learned from that book. There's a long book, but 2 things I learned from that book. Number 1 is, great line says, today's what, Thursday? Today's Thursday. If you don't know what you're eating for lunch on Monday, you lose. Okay? Because what happens is if you don't have it planned out, then you're not going to eat right. It's just not going to happen, right? There's just too many easy choices that are not good, all right? And that's, okay, boy, that slammed me in the face, all right? It said, oh, okay, I get that. Number 1. Number 2 was that he allows you, in that book, eat clean for 6 days and cheat on day 7. All right? It was awesome. Okay, so okay, great. 6 days I can do it. I can starve myself. I can eat whatever these fruits and nuts or whatever you want. It's pick and eat. Long as I know that pizza and Big Macs are coming on day 7, right? Because literally he says eat whatever you want on day 7. And it doesn't have to be, it can be whatever day 7 you choose, right? Whatever your week is. The cool thing is, all right, as I did that, I couldn't wait. I barely made it to day 7, and so I just gorged myself. All right? I did. And all of a sudden, the next morning I woke up and I felt like garbage. But when I had eaten like garbage all week, I never knew that I was lethargic. Because I didn't know what not lethargic felt like. Does that make sense? It's the old pigs don't know pigs stink, right? Okay. Are you with? Right? To a pig, everybody says, oh, that's just the way you smell, right? Okay. And so with that in mind, it was so awesome that I felt, oh, okay. So now, because he has to drive home the point, what does clean eating feel like and what does dirty eating feel like, right? Does that make sense? And so it was really cool for me to go through and see that. And trust me, I'm not saying I still indulge every once in a while, because if not, then I'll fall off the wagon for 3 weeks in a row, right? Or do something like that. So it's just a matter of doing that. So you get a feel for, hey, boy, I do feel better when I sleep, eat, and exercise well. All right? I'm just telling you, good things happen. All of a sudden, you're meeting business at the gym. All right? Because you have a common theme with somebody else there. You strike up a conversation, and next thing you know, how do I get one of those water bottles? Buy a house for me. Right? That's how you get one. All right? It's the way it works. All right? Learn from the past, but focus on the future. All right? When we talk about healing from our past, we don't forget it because we want to learn. Those are good experiences, right? So those experiences help us grow, and we can grow from those. But learn from that. But let's focus on the future. All right? Past is the past. Nothing we can do about it. All right? Trust the process. This is one of my favorite things. Anybody follow sports at all? Okay. Sports coaches right now are big on saying this. Trust the process. Trust the process. And what they're saying, here's the idea behind it. We're not going to focus on the result. We're going to focus on the work. Right? Because so many times we get caught up in, is that giving me my immediate response? Is that giving me, in our today's microwave society, we've got to have, okay, I did this and I should have a deal today, right? What happened? Come on, Bob, where's the money? Okay? But once we trust the process, if we get committed to what that process is, then we don't even worry about the results, because at the end, the results take care of themselves if you do the process. But so many times we get really caught up in, the results aren't there, so that you quit the process too early, right? And so trust the process. Structure your life. I'm telling you guys, I have lived unstructured and I've lived structured. Structured's better. All right? The beauty of real estate is you're self-employed. No more cubicles. All right? When you're in a cubicle and had an accounting manager to answer to, all right, your life was structured whether you liked it or not. It was structured for you. All right? The curse of real estate is you're self-employed. Okay? Because there's no one lording over you telling you will and must and do. That's why we need coaches. Right? That's why we do what we do, so that we can have that accountability and get that done. So if we can learn to structure our life, here's one of my favorite terms. There's freedom in structure. Sounds oxymoronic, right? Okay? How could there be free and structured at the same time? I'm telling you guys, once you start to live in structure, it frees up time. You say, you know what, I'm going to shut off my phone and I'm going to make my calls for 45 minutes and not take any incoming calls, all right, barring one of my family, not a relative, family calling me, right? Okay? Barring somebody from my family calling me, I'm going to knock this out. I'm going to get this done. All right? Wait till you, in the 100K, when we teach First and 10, and all the things that you go through in your hour power and all that kind of stuff, the beauty of the First and 10, and you're doing it, and your pre-leave ritual from the night before when you clean your desk and you get things ready for the next day. I'm just telling you, we're going to teach you how to live a structured, disciplined approach. And you're like, oh, I hate structure. No, you're going to love it. I'm just telling you, you're going to love it because now you're going to say, what am I going to do with the rest of my time? Now I can go to lunch and go network stack 3 people in a row. All right, because now I was structured and did everything I was supposed to do between 9:30 and 10:45. And what used to take me all day because I was willy-nilly putting out fires and running around like my head, chicken with a head cut off, is now structured in an hour and 15 minutes, and I'm done. It's a beautiful thing, all right? It's so free, and all of a sudden you go out and you take a walk. What's that? You enjoy life. What's that, right? You know, I'm not running around trying to worry about, did they pray? Just relax, it's all okay, right? So I'm just telling you, it's a lot of fun when we get into structure. Attack your plan with laser-like focus, okay? Structure your life and have a plan. Did I even put that on there? Okay. Have a plan, all right, and then attack that plan with laser-like focus. Don't be distracted, all right? Avoid them. Get them out of your life. Don't allow them to be there. Don't try and do this with ESPN Sports Center up in the corner. Don't try and do it when, you know what, there's a load of laundry that needs to be switched over. You know, I get that, all right? So either do the load of laundry first or commit to say, you know what, oh look, load of laundry's on my calendar to do at 1:45. Okay? So it's okay for me to make these phone calls now. Because so many times, by the way, we avoid the phone calls because it's something we don't want to do, and we look for everything else in the world to do. All right? Are all the kids' toothbrushes lined up? All right? In their drawers? Okay? Does everybody, you know what I mean? We look for excuses. All right? Remember, we talked about last time, doesn't have to be a perfect plan, it just has to be executed. George Patton, right? A good plan executed today is far better than a perfect plan never executed. Okay, let's just go for it, right? Let's just make them things happen and get it done. Focus on the process, not the results. That's what I was getting to, right? Is that once I've got a plan and I know that this works, because how do I know it works, by the way? Because I've seen the results on other people's trees, right? The fruit's coming off their tree and this is the process and they're teaching me. So let me trust this process. It worked for them. Let me trust. All right? I'm not going to focus on the results. All I'm going to do is hold myself accountable, not to the results, but to the process. All right? I'm going to do the work. Make sure it happens. Fair enough? All right. Love this line. Weed yourself daily. All right? Now, someday when Future Home Realty has a Colorado office, it might mean a different thing when I say weed yourself daily. All right? But that's not what I mean here. All right? I know medicinal is here now, right? But I'm not talking about that. Okay? What I'm talking about is live each day in accountability. All right? Now, ideally, you'd be accountable to yourself. Realistically, it ain't going to happen. If you were going to be accountable to yourself, truly, you already would be. All right? I'm just telling you, accountability partners are worth their weight in gold. A true one. Someone that's going to really push you, not listen to excuses, not allow you to, pat yourself on the hand and say, that's okay, go get them next time. That's okay, we can do that. There's some time for encouragement, all right? But, okay, it's 6 weeks in a row, we still haven't done, step one. It doesn't sound like patting on the hand is helping here, all right? Maybe a little kick in that might help, right? And so that's the kind of accountability partner we want to have. It's somebody that's going to push us in love, right? And make things happen. So live each day in accountability. Treat each day like a trip to the moon. What in the world, okay? Those of you, I'd love teaching to a new group that haven't seen my slides before. Dan's seen this one, but I don't know if you guys, the other people have. So I gotta get my glasses. I gotta switch slides here, and I haven't figured out how to way to do it. So let me see if I can. Let's go to it. Okay, trip to the moon. This is a great illustration. Here's our perception. Trip to the moon looks like this, right? Here's Earth, there's the moon, they shoot a rocket, nice smooth parabola, and we land on the moon 2.5 days later, okay? Really smart people figured out how to do that, all right? How to get us there and land and get back, all right? Apollo 13, still one of my favorite movies in the world. See, remember they come in and they drop that box, it's got like duct tape and a little like hose or something like that and says, okay, here's what we got to work with, get them home. And they're like, what? He said, but to see them come together and figure that out. If you haven't seen that movie, it's a great movie. If you haven't seen it lately, go watch it again. It's quality. See the power, the ingenuity, the American spirit of overcoming obstacles and making things happen. So anyway, trip to the moon, that's what we think it looks like. Here's reality though. Okay? See this box? Got a laser? Yeah. That box right here, let's say that's a 10-second portion of that trip. All right? And let's magnify it 1,000 times. In reality, that's what that trip looked like. It kind of blends in with the plane there. So, but you can see it's not smooth, is it? It's totally jagged. Because the reality is that they are monitoring their progress to the millisecond and making a small series of adjustments hundreds of times every minute. Because they know, because here's the reality of a trip to the moon. There's not enough fuel to get you to the moon and back. All right? They escape Earth's atmosphere. They have enough fuel to get them fired into the right direction. Okay? And they coast. Because in a vacuum, there is no friction, and you're just going to kind of coast to the moon. And you hope you get close enough to the moon so that the moon's gravity starts to pull you in, and then you orbit that a couple times, and then you can fire your engines, and you still have some fuel to do that to slow yourself down so that you fall to the moon. Okay? But there's not enough fuel to get you there. All right? But they also give themselves enough fuel to make some adjustments along the way, because they know if they waited like realtors do, all right, who set their goals on January 1st, and the next time they check them is December 28th, right? Okay, let's see how we're doing. I was to sell 42 homes this year. Where are we? December 28th. Oh, I sold 12. I got 3 days to sell 30. Whoo. Time to get to work, right? No. Each day, what we're gonna they don't have time. If they waited 3 hours to do their first check to see if they're on course, they may be so far off that they cannot recorrect. They cannot recorrect and get back on course. So they know they've got to do. Okay, constantly. What if we did that in our lives? What if we just said each day, you know what, I'm going to do a quick check. Okay, I'm going to spend 3 minutes and say, hey, here what I'm supposed to do today. How'd I do? Do I need to make an adjustment to tomorrow's schedule based upon what I missed today? All right? Or am I ahead of, you know what I mean? I learned this for me, and we're going to teach the Sunday night ritual. That's why I told you I was teaching the Sunday night ritual before I even read the book, right? And that's when this agent called me and said I was stealing Michael's ideas. And I said, no. He sat in one of my classes and came in, stole my ideas and wrote a book, and now he's making millions off it. I'm just kidding. All right, because for me, Sunday night was it. What I did on Sunday nights is I took a look at my past week. I spent 15 minutes taking a look at my past week and said, okay, what did I do, and am I on track, right? And if I know that my goal was I wanted to sell 100 homes a year, all right? And I got to the point where I was pretty quickly. And for me to do that, that meant basically I need to sell 2 a week. Okay, you start to break it down into small bites of how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? Okay, and so I started to break it down. 100 homes a year, impossible. Well, 2 a week, not impossible, right? I've sold 2 homes in a week before, haven't you? Right? That's doable. I just got to repeat it 52 times and we're done, right? Okay, well, hallelujah. So you start to break it down, all right, into, okay, now what do I need to do to do that? And so I would just take a look and say where I am, okay, and say, okay, I'm on track or I'm not on track. And then I would plan the next week's schedule based upon the previous week. Was I on track? Yes. If I wasn't on track, do I need to make a small tweak? All right, do I need to sell 3 this week because I only sold 1 last week? When I say sold, you know what I mean? Put people in the pipeline and all that kind of stuff. But I just made small adjustments. Whereas if I'd waited 6 months to do my first check and found out that I was only had sold 8 homes, I was supposed to have 50 down by now, right? Then 2 things happen. First of all, your mind blows. Like, oh, forget this. I'm going to go back to the cubicle, right? All right? You say, I don't want to do this anymore, all right? I know, landscape, architecture wasn't that bad, right? And so you start talking yourself into different things, right? It's like, hey, you know what? Maybe I could do something, different. And so, because you're looking and say, well, okay, now I got to sell 50 next 6 months and got to catch up for the, how would I say, 38 that I still got to do 88 now. No way, forget it. Forget this. Real estate doesn't work. All right, and so that's where our mind goes. But if we had made the small adjustments along the way, it's easy to say, hey, you know what? I need to make about 7 more phone calls this week because I need to catch up from what I missed last week. I need to write 4 more note cards because I wanted to get 15 note cards out. I only got 11. I want to get 15 out each week. All right, so I only got 11 out, so I need to get 19 out this week. So that way, between the 2 of them, I'm still averaging my 15. That's a small tweak, easy to make, all right? Waiting to say, hey, look, I need to do 15 a week and 30 weeks in, I'm supposed to have 450 out and I only have 12 out. Now I've got to, oh no, how do I make up 338 or whatever it is, 438? Not going to happen, right? But it's easier to make up that small tweak to the 4. Okay, so that's what I'm telling you. If you can learn to treat each day like a trip to the moon, all right, just think about this. Embellish that slide into your head. Say, I'm going to make small adjustments more often. Instead of having to try and make some big major adjustment halfway through the year, or a lot of us not even 2 days left in the year, okay? Let's make smaller adjustments every step along the way, and we can get there. Fair enough? And that's what accountability partners do for us. All right, let me get back to the other slide now. Okay, so we talked about weeding ourselves, living each day. Tiny corrections more often do the trick. Okay, just think about that. Small corrections done more often, all right, are the way to go. Less painful, by the way. Story of Bill and Robert, my neighbors. What does that have to do with weeding yourself? Here's where we finally get to weeding ourselves, all right? Okay, so I told you I just moved, but before I moved, I had 2 great neighbors. One guy's name is older guy, retired from, sold asphalt products, I think. You know, World War II generation, those kind of guys, you know what I mean? Just plugged down, poured his life into his work, same company for 42 years, retired, lives a great life. Great kids, great grandkids, you know, just, you know, the greatest generation. There's a reason there's a book written about them, all right? Because if not, we'd all be speaking German or Japanese, right? So with that in mind, his name's Bill. Great guy, kind of guy that, hey, if you ever need a tool, Bill's the guy. Hey, Bill, who do you use to trim your trees? Hey, Bill, I'm thinking about putting sprinklers in my yard. Hey, Bill, you know what I mean? That's kind of that. Bill's the guy you go to, right? Bill, I was watching, okay, because I lived up on a hill. Jim would attest to that, right? Okay, right? Jim helped me do some work on this house before we sold it. I flew him up to Tennessee because Jim's a handy guy. In addition to you know, answering all your questions, he'll do it with a hammer in his hand too. So he's a multifaceted. Matter of fact, I've seen him doing it. He was helping me build out my basement and dig a pool in my house last year while he was on the phone with our agents solving their problems. So it's like, boy, I'm so glad Jeanette made me hire him. So Bill and Robert. So Bill, down there, I was up there in my office and I looked down and Bill was coming out to check his mail. All right, so I was just on the phone or something. I watched him. And Bill, we all had these little semi or quarter circle little flower beds around our mailboxes, you know, at the end of our driveways. All right, and so Bill would go out, he'd check his mail, and I'd watch him, and he would just take a quick peek around. All right, and he'd reach down and forefinger and thumb, picked out a couple weeds. All right, got his mail and walked into the house. All right, not right next door to Bill, but on the other side of that neighbor, this guy Robert, nice guy. All right, Robert, once a year I hear foul words coming out of his driveway. I mean, just curse words, just "ay guys, fracka, smacka, fracka, schmacka," right? That kind of stuff. And I look down, oh, Robert's weeding his flower bed once a year, right? He lets it go. Doesn't do anything for a year, all right? And then can't believe that the weeds showed up. Well, guess what? We live in an imperfect world, and since, you know, Adam chose to eat the apple, all right, the weeds came, all right? Eden had no weeds, all right, until Adam ate the apple, now we have weeds, all right? So it's just part of what it is, right? By the sweat of your brow you shall toil, and okay, you read the Bible, that's what it says. So now Robert's out there by the sweat of his brow, toiling, trying to do it. I'm like, Robert, you know, and he's like practically has to get a backhoe, you know, and you know he can't weed with his forefinger and his thumb, all right, like Bill can. So if we can learn, that's where the whole weed yourself daily comes from. So whichever one resonates with you, either trip to the moon, it means do it often, right? Small tweaks. Bill can weed like this because he keeps it weeded, all right? But once a weed starts to take root, it's not, you can't just pull it out with the forefinger and thumb after a while. Pretty soon it takes chemicals and machinery, all right, to get those things out. So why not? Let's live our lives where we're being able to clean ourselves up and make our corrections more often. Fair enough? All right. Okay, we went through these already. All right, give massive value first. Here's a Michael Mayer thought. Every time you have a conversation with somebody, at the end, make sure you say, oh, by the way, if you or anybody you know looking to buy or sell real estate in the next 7 months, I'd be happy to appreciate the referral. Referral is the sincerest form of flattery I could ever receive. Put it on the back of your card. Screw that. You know why you don't like to say that? Because you wouldn't want it said to you. And then pretty soon, people are running from you because they can smell your commission breath from about 16 feet away, right? Like, oh, here they come. All right. Oh, yeah, she invited me to coffee. Yeah, I know why she invited me to coffee. All right. So at the end, she can say, by the way, you or anybody you know looking to buy or sell real estate, I really appreciate the referrals, for instance, for that. Screw that, all right? How about you go help them, and then they, psychologically, will feel obligated to help you. It's not why you do it. You do it because it's a better way to live. It's a great, what if your job is, I'm going to go make people's lives great today? What a purpose, right? What a fun way to live. Makes you I can help today. When I got to make 10 phone calls, and the whole purpose of my phone call is at the end, I'm not going to say, by the way, you anybody looking to buy or sell real estate. I'm going to say, hey, by the way, you know what? Sharon, what I got you? What's your biggest challenge right now? What can I help you with? What? I'm just telling you. Well, you know what? My daughter just moved back to the area, and she's looking at our granddaughter. She loves ballet, and we're looking for a good ballet school. You know what? I just sold a home to somebody who also, his daughter's really, let me give her a call and see where she goes. I bet you she's done some research on this already. So you call them back in 10 minutes, there it is. Hallelujah. You know who's happy? Stealing all of Michael's stuff. Triangle of trust, right? 3 people are happy. You're happy because you got to help somebody. They're happy because now they have a good lead for a ballet school. And guess who else is happy? The ballet school owner. All right? And guess what how'd you hear about us? Oh, this Sharon told me they've had a friend who really want to share. Telling you, next thing you know, bam. All right? Whether it's a good carpet cleaner to whatever. You guys are in real estate. One of my, when we first taught the 7 levels of communication, one of the agents started writing some power notes, right? So he's writing his power notes. And one of the things he wrote was kind of basically almost the, what's that magic email at the end where in the book he talks about the magic email, the guaranteed response email, right? Where, but he did it on his power note. He said, by the way, anything, anything I can help you with, feel free to let me know, or something like that, And all of a sudden somebody called him back. He wasn't prepared. He called him back and said, hey, by the way, your note said, give me a call if anything can help. What did you mean by that? He's like, oh man. So on the fly, he said, well, I've been in real estate now for about 2.5, 3 years. And I've developed a really good resource of a bunch of different people. So I don't know, is there anything, that you need? It just seems like I've got a good network of people that I like to refer business to that seem to do a good job. Well, actually, you know what? We were just talking in the fact that you sold us our home. It's been a year, and we just said, we're young, but we don't have a will. Do you know a good, a trust attorney, somebody that could, help us, develop a will? He goes, you know what? And this guy happens to be from Tampa, and he was a younger guy, but his dad was, and so he goes, because he was like, I don't have a will, you know what I mean, in his mind. But he says, that's a good idea. So he went and found it, and he got that, and the next thing you know, 3 months later, he gets a phone call from the trust attorney. He said, hey, your dad, you recommended this couple. By the way, I just got this probate case that ran across. I need someone to list this home. It's just the way it works, because you go give massive value first instead of asking for the referral. We call it earn the right, right? You earn the right to be heard. What does that mean? It means that you go give the massive value first, then you earn the right to receive the referral, not ask for the referral. Okay, you have to go do the first thing first, all right? And so that's what we do. So go give, and what does that mean? Whatever. Massive value means different things to different people. What do they need today? Rhonda. Yes.
From understanding, because the information that I've been given previously was a lot of times people don't even know what you do. They know who you are, but
Sure.
they don't know what you do.
Yep.
So you go sit on a committee and volunteer your time.
Yep.
No one knows you're a realtor in the room, so then when you find out the person right next to you
Yep.
sold their house but never thought of you.
Fair enough.
That was the thought process behind that.
Yep.
Now let's connect them all. What you're saying is lead with the value.
Mm-hmm.
But you did entwine in your conversation, I am a realtor and I have connections that can help you.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to make sure that's the piece there.
That is correct. And you're going to adjust it slightly to people who already know that you're a realtor, right? Because you're going to have your A, B's, and C's. We'll talk about your ambassadors and your B's and your C's. But some of those people already know you're a realtor, so you don't need to restate it, all right? Because that's when they stop. Michael calls it you end up in the NFL, right? Every time, the no friends left, right? Because, okay, all right? Because if all your friends, every time you come to them, you're asking for business, you end up in the NFL, right? And so those that know you, you don't have to re-mention, all right? Those that don't, or you know what? One of the things we do, I told you, we don't charge you $850 to come to the 100K Club, but one of the other things we do, you eat, sleep, and live well. You donate 10% of your income. I call it a tithe to a church, synagogue, or other nonprofit. You go and donate 4 hours a month to some type of nonprofit, something outside yourself, something that you're passionate about. And story after story after story, I've heard people washing dogs at the dog kennel because that's their passion. They're donating their time at the dog shelter. And next thing you know, Bobby, you wouldn't believe it. The lady I was washing the dog with, we were just chatting. She told me what she did. She asked what I did. We got to chatting. Next thing you know, she has an aunt who's moving to town. I got to buy her. Because I was doing my 4 hours of community service. All right, not because I have a bracelet on my ankle that says I have to do it, but because you want, it's something I'm passionate about and want to do. It's just the way it goes. All right, so the answer is yes and no. If they already know, you don't want to bombard them with it. But if they don't know, then you certainly either mix it in or have a way that down the road you will mix it in. At the end of the day, if you don't get a chance to mix it in and you lose that one, then so be it. At least you still give them massive value first. I'm a firm believer in that karma comes back to you big time. All right. To go to. Great question, though. All right? Stop chasing business and begin attracting it. We've talked about that. You're going to hear that from me 100 times if you hear nothing else. Do the next right thing. We were talking, we go through May is when we hand out our bonus checks. We pay a referral bonus. Because I came from Keller Williams, ours isn't 7 levels deep. It's just a straight one-on-one referral, right? If you refer, it's best. I got 1,000 people out there now. We're telling other people about us, so it's the best 10% I'll ever spend, right? To do that. So cheapest advertising I can ever come up with. But we go through that. When I hand them out, I also go through our core principles, and we talk about the thing about where when you're principled, right? Then the decision's already made. Right? When you live your life on principle, it's not the decision's already made. So, again, stuff hits me. My son split the first 2 sets. It's 10-10 in the tie break, and you got to win by 2. You're supposed to win, stop at 10, right? But you got to win by 2. So it's 10-10 in the tie break. And in tennis, they're not playing in, matches where they have a judge up on a chair, right? They're calling their own, ins and outs and so on and so forth. There's a shot where, and frustrated, Joseph's working on his swing and trying to take really good strokes. And I told him, hey, we don't focus on the process, not the results. I said, all we're here to is take good swings. All right, I don't care how your opponent plays. Well, this guy, once it got to tie break time, just started lobbing everything. So it's just kind of, what I mean? And that's why these points were like forever, because Joseph's trying to hit firm and this guy lob. So he hits one again, Joseph comes in the net, he lobs it, Joseph's running back. And from my vantage point, it was close, all right, on the back line. It's at 10-10. I'm sure, and and Joseph, he just got it in, and when tennis players, they clap with their racket, they hold the racket in one hand, they kind of just, so he clapped for the guy with his racket at 10-10. Every fiber in his body, I guarantee, wanted to call that ball out. I asked him later, I said, where, he goes, it got maybe the back ½ inch of the line, Dad. He goes, but I had a clear shot of it. When you live on principle, you know what I mean? That stuff will play when he's 22 and he's faced with a decision in life. That's where, that point mattered not compared to the life principle that he was able to dig in and do. So when you live your life principled, then there are no decisions really to make because the decision's already made, right? I'm going to live with integrity. Yeah, but when I'm presented, I'm going to live with integrity. That decision's already made. Am I tempted? Yeah, right? But the decision's already made, all right, because I'm going to do that way and live that way. Pretend like you live in Walnut Grove. at a place, go get involved at your church. Go do, when I say live like Walnut Grove, you guys watch Little House on the Prairie? Okay, that's Walnut Grove, by the way. I love Little House on the Prairie. Because when the barn burned down, they didn't call FEMA. All right? Okay, there was no FEMA. All right? They all just rallied around. They all met at the church, which was the school, which was the election place, which was, that one building in town, right? And they all went to Nelson's Mercantile and got the supplies they needed to go rebuild the barn. And next thing you know, it's done in a day. All right? I'm not Jehovah's Witness, but you ever watch a Jehovah's Witness crew put up a church? They do it in a weekend. They do. Bam. They all come together, and they've got it down. They're not intricate buildings. They're pretty much rectangles with a roof, right? But I'm telling you, and they do it in a weekend. Go watch one sometime. Go talk to somebody you know is Jehovah's Witness. Say, hey, next time you're having a church building, let me know. I want to go just put one of those slow time-release cameras, right? What? Have you ever seen it?
No.
Okay.
We set up a tent across the street.
That's right, exactly. I was just telling you, it's amazing to go see them and they just attack it, right? That's just the way I think we ought to live. It's not, hey, you that and this, that, and the other, you don't believe the way I believe. You know what? We can not believe differently and still get along just fine to help each other out. All right? We may not agree politically, but who cares? All right? I can still watch your dog for you because your kid cut his hand and you need to run to the emergency room or whatever. You know what I mean? Just do nice things for people, right? Find a place to serve others. Exercise the platinum rule, right? Michael Mayer again, right? Doesn't teach the goal. We all know the goal. That way, right? I'm going to actually take it to the next level and think, how does Dan want to be treated? Right? I know Dan. I got to know somebody well enough to know that, right? But I know him so well that this is the way Dan wants to be treated, so I'm going to treat him that way. Okay? Good way to go. Just, period, be, period, kind. All right?
All those notes that I wrote, I'll give you all a hint. I did not put in a business card.
Yep.
I only signed my name.
Yep.
I did have a return address because it's to my neighborhood.
Yep.
286 houses, so
Yep.
a lot.
Yep. That is a lot.
And I
That's what you did in 2 weeks?
And I didn't in 2 weeks.
Wow.
And I did not, and by the way, I had to make minor adjustments regularly.
Right.
Of course, I had to make sure I made my goal. But the end of the story is that I asked them what I could do for them. I did not ask for business. I had 2 listings. That's over 650,000 in those 2 listings. Sold 2 more houses to the people that were moving. And now they say, because of what you just said, treating them right, their family. And I didn't ask, by the way, I didn't have to ask. That's amazing to me. I mean, because we were taught for so many years to ask. And the be kind, do the right thing, help them first is powerful. I mean, I would love to announce that for Michael Link to it himself. It's unbelievable to me that I'm thinking, how many training classes I've been to, and I've never thought of it, the give first thing. Even to take it one step further, he said, I want you to get 100 referrals in a year. And I'm like, wow, seems like a lot. He goes, you got this. I said, so should I be tracking them? And we helping other people by giving them referrals, meaning not just our business.
Right.
And I realized that I get 100 referrals in probably 3 months
Hmm.
after I start tracking. But you don't realize that you have to start analyzing what you're doing and realizing that helping people's going to pay you. I've actually already almost made my whole year. Last year I've almost made it, a little bit more already. And that's by making those adjustments that you told me to make. I should keep paying you because
Just a percentage of something or whatever. It's just a better way. We're going to study it when we study 100K. It's just a great, that's what I'm telling you. He does a great job of just laying out, how you go about doing what she just described.
And you feel better.
Oh, wow. And you're going to do it because before you didn't do it because you felt dirty asking people all the time. You right? It's like, man, I don't like it because I wouldn't like it if they did it to me, right? So that's why you don't. And I get it, right? And you shouldn't. But if you do it, because what happens is I describe it as a seesaw, teeter-totter, whatever you call it, right? That I throw this massive rock of value, all right, at you. Next thing you know, whoo, it's over here. We like our lives to be in balance, right? We don't walk around leaning. We walk around straight up, right? And so with our lives in balance, they feel, not because they're going to verbalize it even, man, I owe Sharon one. They just feel psychologically, they feel, you do it, right? If someone gives you a really cool thing, it's not because they did, or it's you say, you know what, I owe them, all right? That was really cool of them to do that. You know what, next time I have a chance to do it. They're not voicing this, it just is internalized. It's just happening.
The daughter of the one I just closed, the second closing,
Yeah.
texted me after a week. I thought it was weird because I wasn't sure who it was.
Right.
So she told me, I'm not ready yet, but will you help me like you helped my mother when I'm ready? Oh, didn't ask.
Yeah.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
You've asked for so long.
And you know what? And we have been taught for so long to ask, to don't end every conversation with, by the way, you or anybody looking to buy or sell, you know what I mean? And people get tired of it. They really do, right? And they become very worn of you in the NFL. Right. No. And you don't want to sell, right? Exactly. You know what? People are like, how do you do well in business? I said, well, it's no different than the guy who fixed chariots in Babylon. Okay? You do a good job, treat people right, do the next right thing, and let them tell other people what a great job you did fixing chariots. Okay?
I'll give a different example, because George, you can testify to this, is that because I help so many agents, they all help me.
Yeah,
They all help me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just had a fellow bakery-
see?
I just had a fellow bakery that show a listing, balls in Jacksonville for me because she lived near there.
That's awesome.
And I said, what do I owe you? She said, let's go to lunch. That's from helping other agents. That's amazing.
It's a better way to live, isn't it? So all this adversarial, oh, you're from that company, I'm from this company, and we're on the other sides of this transaction, and you're good. Well, no, you know what? We're all after the same end, right? Because none of us get paid until it closes, so let's all work together to make this happen, right? And it's just it's Walnut Grove, right? Hey, my barn burned down. All right, let's just go do it. I'm just telling you, it's fun. All right, and the Michael Mayer book, when we start to dig through it, all right, it's really good stuff. It just is, you know what I mean? Because it's just, you start to give that massive value first.
What's the title of that book?
7 Levels of Communication. The 7 Levels of Communication. And Mayer is spelled M-A-H-E-R. If you want to get a heads up or head start on our August stuff, read that book. It's an easy read and it's good stuff. It's a step-by-step process on how to do it. For some reason, all these points came up at once, so let's go through all the bullet points. All right? Stop whining. It's the last slide. All right? Life's not fair. Get over it. Okay? It is what it is. No one cares about your perceived issues. They don't. As much as they try and pretend like, oh yeah, no. All right? They've got their own problems. You don't need to be airing them out to them. All right? It accomplishes nothing and it repels people. If we want to attract people, all right, the negativity sometimes that's out there that we spill and everything else, and life's not fair, and I've done this, and nobody feels like they appreciate me, and I feel, social media has kind of gone nuts with some of that stuff. You know what? Keep it to yourself. Okay? You can feel that way all you want. Yell it, scream it into a paper bag, and then throw the bag away and move on. Okay? Just whatever you need to do to cope and make it happen. All right? And then finally, here's a point. Trust me. You don't want what you deserve. All right? That's not fair. I'm not getting what I deserve. Careful what you ask for. Right? It's funny. I'm a firm believer that you attract people that are like you, right? So next thing you know, somebody just, oh man, all my clients I'm dealing with, they're just really jerks. Okay. I'm a firm believer you're going to attract who you are. Keep going. oh, every deal's just, you know what I mean? This guy said, you know what? Maybe it's your approach. Maybe it's your approach to life that is causing everybody you're around to be a jerk, right? It's, you know what, and I get it, and clients, buyers are liars, and but you know what? No, let's not buy into that. That's the other thing. Trust me, you're going to enjoy 100K because we're going to myth bust and we're going to blow your preconceived notions away. All right? I'm going to teach you backwards. Backward. Is there an S on backward? Okay, backward. I'm going to teach you a different way. All right? I know if you're going to last, you better list and all this stuff. You know what? That's all cool and fine. I'm going to teach you how to get listings from your buyers. Got a call the other day from Jerry Rosen. Jerry Rosen is listing a $380,000 home, no, $425,000 home in Tampa from somebody he met sitting at a $62,000 bank-owned open house. But Bob, I wanted to list high-end homes. Said, so you can go join the country club, lease a Jaguar, fake a Rolex, and go compete with the other 42 realtors that are doing the same thing in your country club and having lunch right now. Or you can go sit at a $62,000 bank-owned open house and get eyeball to eyeball with people and tell them how hard you're going to work and win them over by what you do. Okay, you choose. All right, I choose the latter. It's not as sexy and glitzy and glamoury. My face isn't on a billboard or on a bus. All right, but it works. All right, because you're getting eyeball to eyeball with people. Right? Okay. Don't get me wrong. I love listings. All right, and if you can go get them, go get them. If you send out no cards and they work, that's awesome. All right, but I want you to get listings where it becomes like an order taking process. Right? It's not a dance for your dinner. Dance for your dinner is, okay, you're number 3. There's 2 ahead of you and 2 coming behind you, and what are you going to do? What you're going to usually do is end up reducing your commission till you feel like it's a pain in the backside. All right? Because a lot of times that's who wins, because if they're interviewing 5 people, then they don't have a relationship with anybody. Whereas if you've got the relationship, game's over. When you've sold the daughter a home already, all right, then you walk in and say, hey, I'm calling you because I'm the mother of Jody, who you just sold a home to, and I have a home down there we've owned. It's been a rental for the last 3 years, and we're tired of being landlords. Will you go list it? Okay, that's not dancing for your dinner. That's an order taker. All right, because every transaction leads to 5 transactions. We teach transactions. We don't teach the size. Focus on transactions because transactions lead you to transactions. All right, that's always the case. Okay, if you fix the chariot right. If you do a bad job of fixing chariots, then you're out of business. All right? Okay, but that's the law of the land. Okay, that's just the way it should be, right? Good realtors should survive and bad shouldn't. All right? It's true, right? Okay, sometimes it takes a few transactions to weed out the bad, to people understand that they're bad, but we'll get them weeded out. Fair enough? All right. Okay, how about this? If you want to live this way, what we just kind of talked about, it's going to take a decision. Because it's not natural, all right? The lowest common denominator, the easiest pathway is to eat what we want to eat, sleep whenever I can really fit some in, run around with like a chicken with my head cut off, and see if there's money in the bank at the end of the year. Okay? It's not having a plan, working a plan, everything else, right? It's all just how we go. So we're going to start our group. We got 3 different groups. We got the Next, the 100K Club, and the Committed. All right, Committed, that's the positive version of Excuse Makers Anonymous. All right, okay? All right, what we're going to do is I'm going to teach 2 different sessions here. We're going to teach it at our office just because I can't find a free room that often, all right? And I'm paying rent over there already. All right, so it's our office. It's in Winter Park. It's fairly centrally located. 2 different sessions. What we're doing is we're teaching one in the evening, one in the morning. Same session. You don't have to come to both. All right. The reason we offer it twice is because we take on a lot of bivocational agents. We don't call them part-time. We call them bivocational. All right. They're looking to make real estate a career. They would love for it to be a career, but right now the cubicle pays their bills. Right? So they've got to stay in the cubicle until they can get out of the cubicle. And I get that, 100%. We don't want them feeling stressed out, because then they become chasers of business and not attractors of business, and they're not doing it right? If you're so stressed that, oh my God, I'm not gonna make my mortgage payment next month, so you're grabbing people by the throat and saying, yeah, I need your business, okay? Commission breath, exactly, and then people get repelled. It's kind of like, the illustration is feeding pigeons, right? You don't go feeding a bunch of pigeons by running with your loaf of bread and saying, I've got bread, right? They're gone, right? Okay, how do you feed pigeons? You gotta throw some out a little bit, let them come to you. That's a better way to do it, right? Okay, so from 5 to 6:30, remember the next, and we'll send out some emails on this, and we'll have a registration page. Our office isn't that big, quite frankly. We'll teach this in a conference room. Probably only gonna be limited to probably 10, 12 people in each session. All right. The next is for higher producers, 4 million and above, and or 15 transactions last year. All right. 100K. We'll take a short break from 5 to 6:30. We'll do that. 100K will be 7 to 8 p.m. That's on Thursday the 4th. By the way, just so you know, these will be 7 sessions and 6 more after these. All right. If the first one's kind of an intro, so come check it out if you want to check it out and see what we're going to do. See if you want to get in and do it. No charge. Going forward, they'll be on Wednesday nights and Thursday mornings. I just have a commitment with Florida Realtors that I have on this first week that I have to do. But going forward, it'll be Wednesday nights and Thursday mornings. All right, this first one's going to be Thursday night and Friday morning. All right, 5 to 6:30 for the next 7 to 8, and then we'll bring in those that have maybe already been to 100K and they just want accountability, pure accountability. All right, that's the committed from 8 to 8:45. Friday morning, same place. 8 to 9:30 for the next, 10 to 11 for 100K, and 11 to 11:45 are committed. All right, and that's our Winter Park office location. All right, Dan.
Will they be about every other week?
Yes, what we generally do is first and third week of the month. If there's a 5-week month, then we'll skip the 5th week and still wait till the first week of the following month. So first and third, we'll give you the exact dates when we go through that, but it's the first and third week of the month. Yes?
And do you decide if we're committed or?
Well, you know what? I think what we'll do is the first time I've done the committed part, right? 100K, you come, and what we do is 100K, Jim will attest, in Tampa, we'll start with 58 people in the room, and by the 7th session, we have 13. Okay? And that's okay. All right? It's just, oh yeah, man, I wanted this, this is for me. And by the way, 100K is we just choose the number because it's a number we chose. All right? It's whatever it is for you, right? It's what you want to do. When we do the committed, I'm going to kind of leave it up to the group. Okay, here's a group, but we're going to teach you in 100K to have a group accountability and then also a one-on-one accountability partner that you're going to meet with in the off week. All right, that you're going to, hey, look, you know what, and we can kind of match make you a little bit, or if you have somebody that in your office that isn't coming that you still want to use, that's fine. By the way, invite other people from your offices. I have no problem with that. We'll be sending out to the masses, to all of Orlando, Aura. So, and this group though, let's make sure we get your card. So we'll send you out the registration page first if you want to lock in a spot to do it. But it's really good. It's just because the important thing is the group dynamic. I'm just telling you. Because the information's good, the Michael Mayer book's good. We also teach you some I'll give you a little heads up. We teach 2 things: corn planting and orange groves. All right? Corn planting is business now. I call it corn planting because corn grows fast. All right? I'm learning that up there. We had a little garden, right? You plant corn in late May, early June, and you're eating corn by late July, early August. It's amazing. You can almost watch it grow. Once it spats out, just zoop. That's the good news about corn. It's fast, right? Bad news about corn, to harvest it, I chop it down. Gone. Come back to the field next year, hey, where's my corn? Field says, where's my seed? Where's my fertilizer? Where's my water? Where's the, and it's like, again? We gotta keep doing that? And the corn says yes, right? So that's the bad news about corn. It doesn't stay done. We're going to teach you some methods, because I got people coming in 100K that say, Bob, I need a commission yesterday. Okay. And I get that. Trust me, I've been there, So with that in mind, I said, all right, let me teach you some business that we can get you business now. Like this weekend, I'm going to have you a qualified buyer that you want to work with, that you have no idea who they are right now. I'm going to show you how to do it if you're willing to do the work, right? So we do that. Then we also teach orange groves, and that's when we get into 7 levels. Orange groves, little long-term thought process, right? It's a better way to go, Because the good news, orange trees, you don't get fruit right away. It takes some time to develop an orange tree, right? But once it's producing fruit, you pick the fruit, but you don't chop down the tree. Now you still got to tend it, still got to take it to lunch, still got to go, do some things, prune it a little bit, weed it, water it a little bit. But after a while, boy, those things are kicking out fruit and so that's what we call our orange grows, and that's more what we're talking about, this generosity generation and the 7 levels of communication. All right, so we're going to teach two sides of it. Okay, business now, and let's develop a game plan for running a true business, not just running around on a hamster wheel. Because trust me, I built my whole career on the hamster wheel. All right? I would run hard, selling 100 homes a year. I'd take a break and breathe January 1st because I figured out that's the only day that I couldn't get somebody to come to an open house. All right? Or I would have probably not even taken a break that day. All right? But January 1st, wake up the next morning, January 2nd, look at the calendar, look at my watch, get back on the wheel, and here we go. If I'm going to crank out 100 homes, I better get it. And I used to brag about it. Foolish me. I was an idiot, right? I could create 100 transactions out of thin air. And I could. Drop me anywhere in America with that backpack. Just give me a realtor's license. I don't care where it is. All right, and I'll have something under contract in a week. And I would. I truly believe I would. But it's not going to stay done. I'm going to have to do it over and over and over and over. And once the commission's spent, it's spent, right? I mean, how did I have to create a business? So we talk a lot, by the way, in the next, that's what we talk a lot about, is how do we create a business out of our business? All right? How do we, something I can actually will to somebody else? How is something that I could sell to somebody if I wanted that actually has a value? Because they can look at the cash flow. Because people don't buy properties, they buy cash flows. Exactly. So with that in mind, that I could actually will to somebody and give away. So we'll talk about that as well. So fair enough. Great question. And then the committed group, I still haven't answered your question. I think we'll put it up to the group. Hey, look, if we're going to truly be committed, all right, at what point do we say, hey, look, you keep telling us that you're going to do this and you're not doing it? So what happens is a lot of times they weed themselves out. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I didn't do what I said I was going to do. I ain't going back to that group. Face the firing squad? Volunteer? I'll just, Bob, I got something came up. Yeah, like you didn't do what you said you're going to do? That's what came up. Okay, and I get it. That's okay. But we'll be loving in doing it. We don't want you to, because that's not, cutting you off and saying, forget it, you can't come back. When you need the information, isn't going to do anybody good either. So we'll work through that. So. What about the cost? Cost zero. Yep, nothing. Just come. This will help you win, man. I just like to see people win. All right, because it's just, you know what? Because the reality is that there is no competition in this business. There isn't. All right, once you start attacking it the right way, it's all, how much you want is what you want. All right, and the only limit is you. And it's okay, I'm not saying that you have to be unlimited. Just, hey, look, I've done what I want today. I'm good. I'm going to go spend some time with the kids and grandkids. I'm going to, live my life. And that's a good thing, right? That's where we want to be. Fair enough? Other questions? Got these dates? Make sure I get one of your cards so that we can make sure Jim, he already has the registration page, but we've got to get you the link to it so it'll be better so you can register for that. And anything else you need in the meantime, let us know. You have my email address. If you want this PowerPoint, email me. Just email me and I'll send you a copy of the PowerPoint. And if you want the link, once Jim has the YouTube, it takes him a day or two to, whatever you do, render it. What do you do? Something? I don't need to know. I'm on a need to know basis. I'm going back to Tennessee and whatever, he'll get me the link to the YouTube thing. And we're good. Something to click on. That's right, something to click on. That's all we need to know. Fair enough? Any other questions before we go? All right, make sure you take some fruit and nuts with you on the way out the door. We've got plenty of it left. And if anything else we can do to help, let us know. Awesome. Great to see you guys.